The Meister sits slumped in a chair, looking around the room as she works her shoulder with one hand. It looks like it was dislocated by the gallows.
Damnable red cloak baboons ransacking my wardrobes, as if I would keep ancient valuable secrets in a pile with my unmentionables.
She takes a deep breath, and with a twist, a click, and a screech of pain, she shoves her shoulder back into its socket.
I swear by the seven, if we did not have more important matters to attend to.
Reaching across the table, she pulls a bowl of hot water towards her and fishes some bandages, a needle and thread out of a box. She slowly starts to tend to her wounds.
At least the barbarians were unable to club their way into my vault, so everything you need should be safe. In your case, more than I suspect, man, god or even reptile can provide. However, we must soldier on. It is not enough to be god-woken in order to ascend to divinity. There is a process.
As she speaks, the Meister uncorks a vial of shimmering liquid, sauce. She lets a couple of drops fall on her hand, but instead of infusing with her body, they quickly evaporate on her scales. She stares at the empty spot on her palm for a long moment before turning back to you, continuing as if nothing had happened.
A process by which God-woken may ascend. It begins with discovering your deepest self, delving into your own soul. No excuses. We are on the path to divinity. Nothing can be allowed to drive us from it. We shall begin once we have the tools we need from my vault. You may have been chosen God-woken, but becoming divine requires more than a supernatural pat on the head. Come, God-woken. It is time to see just how awake you are. Fortunately, the Magisters pay as much attention to art as they do to fashion. Kindly remove that painting from the wall. I pray my instructions will not be too technical for you. Push the button. Can you not see the button on the wall? Walk to the corner and press it. Can you not see the button on the wall? Walk to the corner and press it.
Now is not the time for a bath.
The talent of instructions fills me with wonder and pride. Now, kindly go to the vault and enter the combination. I shall call it out as you go.
A stone door lies flush with the floorboards. Etched whorls in the granite frame a delicate rotary dial. Gleaming under the dim light, the metallic dial almost seems to wink at you. Taking your time, you carefully enter the combination. The metallic sounds of the tumblers falling within the mechanism let you know you entered the code correctly.
Excellent. Follow me. Your time is at hand, Godwoken.
Ancient runes? Weird contraptions? This place is an Arcanist's dream.
Opening the door, you see a selection of ingredients, thrown together in no particular order. After a quick rummage, you spot the blackroot nestled between the grated dragon's tongue and drudene oil. You gather up the blackroot, obsidian lance and ancient bowl and kick the door of the cupboard closed.
Rubbish. Junk. Rubbish. Junk.
The Meister is examining her wounds, prodding at this, wincing at that. Her face seems grim as she turns to you.
Do you know what it means to have the power of the divine, Godwoken? A chance, yes, but it is much more than that. No, becoming the divine means taking on the power of all the gods and the responsibility for all the races. The divine was created by the gods to shelter us from the void. The divine cannot use his power for anything else. When you become the divine, there is no more self.
For just a moment, her eyes soften as she looks at you.
It is no small thing to ask, but it is your duty. Without a new divine, Rivellon will die. Very well, then. Let's see if we can't snatch divinity from the jaws of the void. The ritual itself is quite simple. Drop some blackroot in the bowl, mix in a little blood, set the concoction aflame, and then inhale the smoke. Ignore any feelings of dizziness, burning in your lungs, or a dire sense of existential dread. They're all perfectly normal, although you will need to sacrifice a little sauce along the way. Everything you need is here. Ingredients in the cupboard, sauce in the glowing fountain, ritual in the tome by the bookcase, even an incinerator to provide a flame.
The Meister looks back at her wounds, curiously prodding them as fresh blood oozes out, staining her claws.
Quite. Mind you, being torn asunder by a Voidwoken would be even more inconvenient. So if you wouldn't mind...
The Meister points sharply to the ingredients cupboard.
Once, although not by a god woken. My assistant did not believe that one had to be chosen by a god to become divine.
She waves a bandaged hand absent-mindedly, wincing slightly.
A headstrong and thoughtless girl, but the experience was... was quite educational. From observing her, I gather that the ritual involves inhaling the smoke, a lot of screaming, and a rather sudden death. And putting our faith in you is a risk Rivellon must take. If you need more detailed information about the ritual, see the tome on a plinth by the bookcase. But be quick about it. We do not have much time. Are you simple? Perform the ritual. Ingredients in the cupboard, ritual in the book, source in the fountain. Go!
As you suck the smoke deep into your lungs, your vision starts to swim and cloud. There is an intense pounding in your head, and you can feel the world fading. As the world fades away, you lose all sense of being grounded. You reach out, but you could feel yourself falling slowly, sinking into the depths of your own soul. Bathed in the half-light of these starless barrens, you spot a figure you could only describe as a second self. It looks haggard and weak, its very voice but a feeble echo of your own.
Ifan, my wolf! Come closer, so that you may see me as I truly am. Look me in the eyes.
The apparition clasps your face in its shaking hands. You suddenly feel your eyes tingle. Everything becomes brighter, sharper. Blacks and whites become glorious bursts of color, then fade back into their accustomed spectrum.
Blind eyes, shine brightly. Speak the spell, and see.
Gone is the strange mirror image of yourself. Before you stands the god Ralik in all his spectral glory.
You know me now, don't you? I saved you from drowning. I blessed you, made you powerful. And now I've come to seek some power in return. Your god-woken soul is my last refuge, my last bastion. May as well make the best of what you have to offer.
Ralik nourishes himself from the source that abounds in your presence. You feel it deep down inside yourself.
Ah, yes. Just what I needed. I tell you, dying just doesn't become a god. The void itself is hunting down the gods, leeching us in ways we never thought possible. Droplet by droplet, we are being drained. We're battling for our very survival. It's a battle we're losing, and should we truly lose, all will be cast into oblivion. Don't taunt me, Ben-Mezd. My strength is your strength. My loss is your loss. You must realize, Ifan, that our fates are now as one, just as our souls are now as one. We are I. Together we are a force to be reckoned with. But if we seek to survive the onslaught of the void, we stand no chance unless we become vastly more powerful than we are now. That means there is but one place we can go. the Well of Ascension. It is a lake, a pool of pure source in which the powers of the seven lie united. We gave them up freely to create the first divine. Each of us donated half of that which makes us gods. To bathe in the lake is to become our chosen. That is where the road to divinity leads, and you must be the first to reach it at all costs. There you touch upon the very heart of the matter. The void is stronger than ever. A new divine won't be enough. You need to go to the Well of Ascension, not to bathe in the source of the seven, but to take it. All of it. Only he who claims everything will be everything. The void's doom. This world's liberator. You will be one, or you will be none. The other gods must bow to you or be undone. But of course, that is what they are saying to their own God-woken as we speak. We both know they won't bow, just like we both know you will never bow to them. Only one can become a god strong enough to safeguard our world. One, at the expense of all others. So make no mistake, Ifan. Chances are the road to divinity will be paved with dead gods, their blood on your blood-red hands. But don't let that dismay you. For these sins will be washed clean by the knowledge you committed them to save all of existence, to save your kin, and your loved ones, and the world they live in. And now only divinity can save what remains. You no longer trust in the Order, Ifan, but you must trust in me. If you choose life, you choose the Well of Ascension. I will lead you there when you're ready. When you've become a true master of the Source and speak the language of creation itself. Our journey will be fraught with peril. It is a pilgrimage of challenges that will require you to command Source like only a God-woken can, and wield its most powerful spell.
Hoarse laughter rolls and echoes into infinity.
Perhaps. But what is a pilgrimage after all? If not a journey of atonement in search of enlightenment? Focus not on death and irony, Ifan. You've had enough of those. It's time to turn your lupine gaze to life and ascension instead. We are I now. The spells you need to know I will teach you when you are ready. But first you must learn to channel the Source in greater volumes. That is why you need to seek Masters of the Source. You must make them teach you, so that you may become a master in turn. So, return to Rivellon and seek out these sages where they dwell. Convince them to share with you their deep-seated bond with the Source. Once you have, you may return to me here. Something that will make you understand that for a god, there is precious little difference between the living and the dead. Source is. It is a constant, a subject of neither time nor transience. All of life is Source, and in Source it is, immortally so. You have the vision of a god now. Eyes that can see spirits, the souls of the dead made manifest in Source. Speak the spell during your peregrinations, and you will see them. Where the dead lie, the dead linger. Best of luck, Ben-Mezd. Go now, Ifan. Rivellon and its masters await.
The Meister stares intently at you. Her eyes are tired and bruised, but determined.
Still alive? Gods above, there might be something to you after all.
She leans in, her bloody tongue flickering hungrily about your face.
Tell me, what did you see? What you know?
The Meister's eyes flash with fury, but she holds her tongue and steps back.
You are not a pile of ash, so the ritual was a success, albeit partially. You had all the material requirements, so I can only assume your source was lacking. That is, unfortunate. If I were looking for a master of mirth, you would be ideal. Alas, there are no masters of source here. The river of my source has been dammed. My link to the font from which it flows, severed. So we must seek alternatives. Alas, the only source masters not yet hauled off to Fort Joy or turned into meat puppets are those too dangerous or cunning for the Magisters to contain. Sorcerers that allowed their power to corrupt them. Many are wicked, cruel, vile, and generally not good teacher material, but we may have no others to turn to. Were the circumstances any different, I would indeed agree. However, it is the path we walk, no matter what the cost. No matter what is asked of you.
The Meister doubles over in a violent coughing fit, struggling for breath. After a few moments, she regains her composure, wiping a thin smear of blood from the corner of her mouth.
No matter what is asked of you, you must learn from them. The Magisters have kept ledgers with all known sorcerers, especially the powerful ones not yet captured. They would be an invaluable resource. But do be careful not to get caught. I was their guest for a time, and I promise you the gallows was the most comfortable part of the experience. And if their barracks turns out to be as empty as their skulls, just try to keep an ear to the ground. There may still be powerful sorcerers hiding in these lands.
As she speaks, one of her wounds reopens, a dark red stain spreading across her tunic. She hisses in frustration and starts to bind the gash.
I wish there was more I could do, but in this condition, I would be more a hindrance than a boon. Godspeed, and remember, do whatever it takes.
Nice.
The spirit of an elegant elven woman materializes before you. She seems surprised.
You can see me. A god woken in my presence. You honor me.
The spirit looks at you regretfully.
It is hard to hear of such power and not covet it for yourself. I lie to myself and convince myself that I am special. But I am not special. I am dead.
The Meister sits slumped in her chair. You notice that some of her scales have dropped to the floor.
What news? Can you channel enough source? Are you powerful enough to proceed? The Magisters kept records of each and every sorcerer in the area. The good, the bad, and the dangerously insane. You have the privilege of seeking out the final of the three. Break into the Magisters' barracks, find their records, and seek out Masters of the Source. Without their help, you will never have the strength to travel within your own soul. Remember, these are dangerous creatures, but it is vital that you learn what they can teach you, whatever the cost.
The spirit of an elegant elven woman materializes before you. She sees...
You can...